All right, good. We're all right, great. Thanks everyone. Great to be back with you. Let me try to put my headphones back on, which may help the echo. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay. All right, wonderful. So, yeah, like I said, great to be back here. Thanks for moving this along, and then of course making some time here for us. Um, So from our end, I'll just quickly touch on a few of the things that were brought up, and then happy to field any questions or we can advance it forward. Um, the the dumpster sizes, just to clarify there, these are actually the only dumpsters for the entire community. It's actually a bigger issue for the HOA that they're trying to solve separately. But this has jump started that conversation. So for now, what we're going to do is increase the size actually beyond the capacity that the additional units is bringing, which will be a great help to them. They have a dump truck that comes to pick up waste. I believe it comes every day, given how much waste goes in there. And with the bigger sizes, that may be of help. But they are looking at some additional locations to put additional dumpsters. Regardless, what we're doing won't impact the current flow. So we're going to leave it up to them in terms of the location. Um, and I think that was it. Is there any other questions or anything that I can answer? All right, thank you again. Um, so I'll just address the question on the subdivision process. We will be subdividing and selling the units. It's part of our agreement with the HOA is to make sure that process happens. So we will be going through that, and we plan to do that. Other than that, we're really excited to be this far along. So thanks for reviewing the information, and I'm happy to answer any additional questions. Yeah, I think so. I meant to get with my engineer before, and it just slipped my mind. I'm guessing it's just an oversight. He's very detail oriented. So there may be a reason why they did it that way, and if so, I'll certainly gather that information. But my guess it was just an oversight, and getting that additional 3 feet won't be an issue. But I'm not aware of any specific reason at this point. But I will get confirmation on that. Yeah, I'm glad this was brought up. I think we would be, and I think the HOA would be going up to 10 feet. Right now, as mentioned, these are the only dumpsters facilitating all 144 and what will be 156 units. So yes, so they fill up. Oh, can you hear me okay? Okay. Yeah, so they fill up quick. I think all the room we can get is going to be needed. They are considering putting another dumpster location just to ease that, but they haven't settled on that. And it's a separate issue. I don't know the locations that they would do. There's a few places in mind, and we can certainly make those recommendations. But I think getting all the space we can is probably going to be prudent. So we should plan to take all 10 feet if that's what we can do. So that would be my thought is let's go ahead and plan for that, and we can make that adjustment and recommendation as well.
Chair Chagru, can I interject? I would just be concerned about a vinyl fence at 10 feet in height. I think the winds that we experience and the structural integrity of a 10-foot vinyl fence would be very weak. So I think if you go to the 10 feet, it needs to be a combination of something at the base that holds it, and then you could top decorative the vinyl. It, it, it no, the enclosure has to be considered materials compatible with the building. So yeah, it's subjective, but it just says compatible with the main building. Yes. Anything above 6 feet.
That's the entrance to the where option one is the current entrance to the RV pad space, and the dumpsters are just kind of plopped down there in that area, right around where building two is right now. They're just in the middle of that RV space. And so you enter it through a gate. That's where option one is. And that's where the dumpster truck, the pickup truck currently enters as well. And then it drives into the RV space, and it's just kind of put there in the middle of the space. Mm, mm. Yeah, point well taken. And I think it's also in a position, you don't see this here, but the walk path to get to building one, their front doors are going to be facing that west area, and you would have to get to the walk path would then circulate around that first option. And so it does kind of put it a little more intrusively for the owners of that first building as well. So my between the two, I favor option two. It puts it a little more out to the side. It gives that green space buffer there between building three and the other buildings. So that would be my recommendation. Option one I just put in there just because that's the current flow for everyone to deposit their trash, is to go through that area and into the RV lot. But I think it's a great point and well noted, and we can certainly uh, push towards option two. I don't know that there's any strong opinions from the HOA, but I think we can take that into consideration. No, our plan is to only do the front porch lights, and then there'll be lights back on the garage space as well. But those would be the only lights that we'd be adding, are those on the structure. Or for the Yeah, there's an entrance on both of these come off. There's two entrances, both come off of Pheasant Brook Drive. So that one there is for entrance to parking for building one and two, and then there's another one for building three. Correct. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I'll do my best. But my understanding is that that's purely for storm drainage. A requirement in order for us to meet coding was to put that in, and there was some discussion between my engineer and some of the folks at the city, and this was the solution that seemed to be best given the situation. So I think this is purely for facilitating the storm runoff. Correct. Correct. Yeah, what's there will be preserved just as it is. The only additional fencing that would potentially go in would be that to fence off the individual yard areas for the units. That's the current way it's done at Pheasant Brook is each unit has a small fenced off area, but the west and south fences would just remain intact, and that's that. I believe they're 8 foot vinyl fencing. It might be, yeah, I think it's 8 foot vinyl fencing going around it. That'll just remain where it is. Well, it's actually four. There's 4 units on each one. Yeah. So let's see if you, in fact, I don't know who's controlling, but if you scroll up a bit, we can see these other units up above. Yeah, there you go. So you see this one there. Yep, you see those little those fenced in areas right near the front door. So there's space enough to basically put in those. I mean, we're talking very small fenced areas. So uh, it's not very big, but those would basically fit right in front of the units. Now, our initial proposal here, and we'll have to settle this, I believe, with the HOA, is to remove those fences on these new units. Aesthetically, we think it's better, and just functionality. What we're seeing with most townhomes now being built is it's just more of that open, communal space, and not really a need for these small areas. But we do have the ability to put those in if the HOA felt that completely necessary. But our actual initial recommendation and the way that we've drafted everything is to keep those from going in. But there is the space there if we needed to put those in to do that right there at the front. Two. Uh-huh. Yeah, and I'm glad Corey you spoke up. I lost my mind there for a little bit. So our initial plan was to do a wood enclosure, but and that's what I was thinking when I answered a wood fence enclosure. And then we changed that to vinyl when we saw the requirement to match. And I agree completely with Corey that a 10-foot vinyl just wouldn't work, and anything other than that won't match what's everywhere at the property right now is that cream colored vinyl. So I think if we do anything different, it wouldn't match. It'd look a little out of place. And so I think 8 foot's going to be plenty. We're making these wide enough that we'll get the additional dumpster space by going wider or deeper on the dumpster sizes rather than higher. I think right now the dumpsters they have are 6 feet tall dumpsters, which is as tall as you'd probably want anyways. But I was just thinking through the potential of ways to get them a bit more dumpster space. But I think we're going to be just fine with 8 foot, and that's as tall as we'd want to go with a vinyl fence. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, I look forward to it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No, not unless you want an explanation about what the South Main Street Code's doing. My recommendation is there's some design parameters that need to be reconsidered, and I'm suggesting we table it. Yes. You should be, excuse me. I'm finally getting some social time now that I've been quarantined with COVID. So um, glad to join you virtually. The yeah, thank you. This project you're pretty familiar with. They've gone through a couple of reiterations of site plan. We finally settled on a site plan where they'll build one extra building. They'll add some parking, and then there is a mixed, not with mixed use, but a mixed concept of parking and storage on the site plan. They want to come back, and part of that decision was to amend the plat to combine the lots of, I think it's 1, 2, and 4, if I remember correctly, combine them into one development. So that would be the large building on the west of the project and the new building to the north. They want to combine that all into one single site. The question became is how do you divvy up ownership? You saw a conceptual site plan for subdivision. So they'll create an industrial planned unit development subdivision. The conceptual reflects the site plan layout. I called that out in the preliminary also. So I think we're really just doing some formal steps to get it to plat recording. It's going to follow what the site plan was originally approved, and the PUD will just allow them to keep the parking and landscaping in common and sell each building separately. So they're just asking for a preliminary step. I think there was one thing that was missing, the CC&Rs and the establishment of an owners association that we mentioned in conceptual. I think that can be bumped to final as we wrap it up with the commission before we take it to the council, but that's your discretion. But I've recommended that they be able to proceed to final plat. Yeah, I'm making it. We don't have any items for the 27th, so we weren't sure whether you had a quorum or not, and we didn't know whether you wanted to just bump some of this training up to the next meeting. We do have a new commissioner, and so we'll have a full commission now. So some of our early thoughts was to do some training, go over some bylaws, answer any questions. But if you won't have a quorum next week, we can cancel that meeting, but we need an official motion from the commission to cancel it. Chair, Chair Scrude, I would just suggest that if we dedicate any meeting to training and stuff, we probably should have, if not all of the commissioners, the majority of the commissioners there, if we're going to do that. So that would be fine. That would be fine. I just, information and training is important that everybody has a chance to. Well, I could have COVID still if you want me to, and you could cancel the meeting. Yes, I'm supposed to do that. Yeah. No, I don't think it has to be a long meeting. I came down with it late Sunday night. I got it from Grandma Lorna, so I'm going to blame my mother-in-law. No, I've got my Levi's on. Uh, a little bit better today. The body aches and the sinus pain was pretty strong yesterday. But yes, no problem. Thanks for putting up with the virtual report.